Is it a good idea? We wait a few minutes and then we will start and the video will be shared. And I don't know if you are with people at the Media Lab or you're just.
So the lunch meeting is starting there. I mean, I already told them like to get connected. So give me 1 second.
Of course. Of course. We just
So
wait.
in the meantime, I'm going to show something here. Let me see if you're able to see what I'm seeing here. Let me see. Get some of the, see just a little bit. Let me know if you can.
Oh, yes.
Oh, it's beautiful.
I have all the sea lions here. Can you see or it's too much?
Oh, it's so good. I'm so happy.
It's beautiful.
I'm just showing. I was going to show you the sea lions that are here in front of the.
It's
beautiful flowers. Oh my gosh, gorgeous.
It's so beautiful because there are many pups are being born. So it's like a nursery here.
Thank you very much indeed, Luciana. I think it's time, might be time, Luis. Should we wait or should we introduce Luciana?
Wait for 1 second because I mean, like the team here is kind of like we are trying to set up here the table. So I have to share with you guys
What is it? Just tell me the number.
the number.
Yeah.
So Luciana and I, we met a few years ago. When was that, Luciana? I don't even remember.
I think was when I started to give some talks at Basque Culinary Center. And then we did a huge exhibition as well, an art exhibition, remember?
Yeah.
And then we start to talk about common themes that we share very similar views. And she's telling all the time how much she loves me, but I love her so much more. I think that there are some teachers who are a true inspiration to students, and Adela is one of them. I think nowadays very few places manage to get students wanting to become teachers, inspired by teachers. And so, yes, it's wonderful. I mean, I'm very grateful. Thank you for the interest in what we are doing. I'm here in the middle of nowhere. I was someone always a bit in the spotlight, traveling all the events and around the world. And then suddenly I kind of retreat a bit to a place that we had no internet for a very long time. And the past year, we managed to get Starlink here. So it's a life-changing experience to be connected. So there are some things nowadays that are very normal to everyone, but for us, it's a true privilege to be in the middle of the Pacific Ocean with connected with the humans.
It's so good. Yes, I remember we met a few years ago, and since that day I just want to be connected to Luciana. Whatever she does, it's so special, and you will see that, guys. You will enjoy every little thing she's doing. She's so generous. Everything you do is so authentic, and it is through food and through gastronomy. Now, at the time that the City Science Lab is with us, whenever Luis says, go ahead, Luis, whenever you say, ready when you are, I will start introducing Luciana because I want the whole team to meet her and to meet her work through food, through gastronomy, through passion, through generosity.
Okay, so I think we are ready.
Excellent. Okay. So let me introduce you. Welcome to Gastronomy and Beyond. My name is Adela Valderas, as you all know. Myself and Luis Alonso from City Science Labmate, MIT, will be hosting Gastronomy and Beyond. Luis, everything ready, yes?
Everything ready. It took us, like always, like the 5 minutes to set up, but the team is there, like having the lunch and ready to listen to this amazing speaker. So thank you so much for Adela for bringing Lucia to to MIT actually, so to these talks with the students. So thank you.
Thank you. We are delighted to be your host, Luciana. Let me introduce a little bit of you, and then the mic will be yours. Together with España, MIT, RCC Harvard, Basque Culinary Center, and of course the great support of Leticia Izquierdo and all the team, once a month we are together in our Gastronomy and Beyond. Luciana Bianchi, I never know if I pronounce that properly. Bianchi.
Correct, Bianchi. Luciana
Yeah.
Bianchi.
Bianchi is an Italian-Brazilian chef and writer with a
As an
background.
Italian name from an Italian-Brazilian family. Yes.
And with a background in molecular science, she has worked in Michelin star restaurants, cooked for celebrities, interviewed many chefs, has published work in 26 countries, and she's a frequent world traveler, and she contributes to many places and in many events. And Luciana is the director of the Galapagos Foundation, focusing in gastronomy, conservation, and sustainability. And this is what she's going to talk about. She has two of her books. Let me tell you something. Brazilian Food with Tiago Castaño and Lima, the cookbook with Virgilio Martinez are both for sale worldwide. And well, she is a contributor in many books, but especially, let me tell you something. She's such a good person. Luciana, ready when you are.
Thank you very much. I think I'm going to give you a hint of where I am, and then I can start to put you geographically a little bit in my direction so that I can share what we are doing here.
It's a mystery to me. We have agreed, which we have agreed. You think you have to want more than you need. Till you have it all, you won't be free. Society, you're a crazy breed. I hope you're not lonely without me. When you want more than you have, you think you need. And when you think more than you want, your thoughts begin to bleed. Think I need to find a bigger place. That's when you have more than you think, you need more space. Society, you're a crazy breed. I hope you're not lonely without me. Society, crazy indeed. Hope you're not lonely without me.
So I'm talking to you around 1,000 kilometers distant from Ecuador. And we are in an archipelago that is world famous. And if you look at any sources, you're going to find very different information about how many islands are in the Galapagos Islands. Because it is an archipelago that is constant information. So we have now an agreement here with scientists, with researchers that we have the 13 main islands, 6 small islands. You've got a lot of islots that is every day are being formed. And what is interesting in terms of gastronomy, because this is an archipelago without any native indigenous population. So if you have a look in these different islands, you have one very big one here. It looks like a seahorse. That is Isabella. Isabella got just 2,000 people living in the bottom part, because in the high part, in the head of the seahorse, it is an active volcano. So you have Santa Cruz, that is a very touristic island. Then you have, in that one, you have around 18,000 people living, 2,000 in Isabella, 18,000 there. Then you go down and you have Floriana. In Floriana, you have just 500 people living, probably are all cousins. And then you see more in your right side, San Cristobal, and that's where I am now. And this island has 9,000 people registered. So, of course, everyone knows this place here for Charles Darwin, because he immortalized the islands. He was here for such a short time, was just for a week. But in this week, he made history, and we profit quite a lot from him as well, from his image. We managed to talk quite a lot about Darwin in many different ways. So what we have here is that someone who inspired us as well in our project in a philosophical way, because we think that the origin of the species by natural selection is a piece of work that helped us to understand much better what we are living in the time of the pandemic, for example, about the things that were not very clear for us, how we were going as a species to overcome this time. So just 1 second, because I have some technical problems here. Now I got it. So the first Europeans to form agriculture community in Galapagos were the Norwegians in 920. However, not much happened because they didn't manage to stay here for very long. And in these 4 islands who are inhabited by humans are part of a very, very fragile ecosystem. And our mission here, doesn't matter what we are doing here, is to protect these islands and to try to teach people who live here, and especially the youngsters, to use their jobs as an act of conservation. In 1979, UNESCO declared Galapagos as a natural heritage for humanity. And it became a national park in 1959. And as you know, it is, you see on TV and in many publicities, is one of the few places in the world that when you come here, you get even more overwhelmed from what you know before. It is one of the few places in the world where animals give you the opportunity to carry on having a relationship with them without fear. The park is very protected. You can swim with giant tortoises. You can have experiences swimming with a big amount of sharks, and you feel part of nature here. I think that is the big difference between Galapagos and other places. So for this reason, we opened and we decided to found Galapagos Foundation. Just 1 second here. I want to make sure that I have all of you. Yeah. And if there's any, okay. Galapagos Foundation initiate with the idea of how can we manage to be part of that movement to protect the Galapagos. So we have a small hotel here, 19 bedrooms. It is a luxury hotel that was the first luxury hotel in the island. And we just thought we need to train the youngsters here to become professionals. Why not to do a special training that they become eco-sustainable professionals? And so they help us as a team to become professionals and at the same time to take care of nature and wildlife. So Galapagos Foundation got these 2 pillars very strong, that is gastronomy and hospitality, hand by hand, and sustainability. what we do here is basically teach basic skills. So we connect friends around the world who wants to make a very lovely deal to spend holidays here with us, and we finance their holidays, and in exchange they basically teach our kids here to have all different type of skills. From science, we have a small lab, probably the trashiest lab in the world, because we don't have fundings for big equipments, and so the foundation doesn't have any governmental fundings. So we decide to become very independent and not get involved in politics. So for us, was very important to have a foundation that just rely on private fundings, and so we decide to do everything in a very different way. Circular economy is the core of everything what we do. We have a big circular economy project, and so we decide to never stop researching because of lack of fundings. So I think that is one of the big things I learned in my life here, is that everything is possible when you have a group of people willing to do and go ahead. And we have, of course, different types of research. We have Perry Castells from Exelbuyi, president of the Science and Cooking World Congress, which we are now the central part of the Congress in Ecuador. And we represented this Congress in Barcelona just a few days ago. And we try also to bring researchers here and youngsters who want to dedicate their lives not just to cooking, but cooking and researching. So it is the first project of its kind. You're going to listen in this presentation several times that, and sounds a little bit pretentious, but the reality is when you're in a small place that has nothing, you become a pioneer in everything. Doesn't mean necessarily that you're the most special in the world, but you're the one who had the guts to stick here, to stay here, and to go ahead with projects, which are extremely difficult. And I cannot explain to you how complicated it is to operate anything here. So this photos show you our hotel, which I became a partner as well. And then we opened a restaurant called Muyu. And the restaurant was for us the first tool to use hospitality and gastronomy as agents of social change. So what we offer is, first of all, people for all age group, because we think that opportunities should not be just a privilege to young people. There are so many mothers, especially mothers, who the entire life dedicate their lives to their children and grandchildren, and they always dream to have a career. So we don't block that, and we offer opportunities for them to have a career in gastronomy as well, and hospitality. So our guests, when they come here to visit us, they share even sometimes just cultural things about their own country. So we try to bring in this place, that this place had no library. We open now the first library, and has no cinema, has no theater. So culture here is something that you see sometimes from TV, but you don't have many offer of cultural activities. So for us, the guests are a source of culture that is bringing to our project. So Muyu means seeds in Quechua language, the native language of Ecuador. And we believe that education is a seed, and doesn't matter how you treat them, they are going to react according to your treatment. So you treat well, you give water, you nurse them, you are going to have the results. And if you don't care about them, you know exactly what is going to happen to the seed. So this had a very strong meaning for us. And we are developing the first cuisine of the Galapagos Islands. Why? Because there are no native indigenous population. The indigenous communities from Ecuador, they arrived here just less than 100 years ago. So there was enough time for that. There are not enough people to get the formation of a cuisine. In the video, you saw a table where I had the elderly ladies from the island. It is a way that we are trying to have some anthropological work, try to find out from them as well, recipes, ways, because their grandparents were the first ones to arrive here. So they still have all the stories, and we try to register that to try to find out. So yes, Muyu is considered the fine dining of the island, but Muyu got two lines. One line that is very kind of popular cooking. We serve that in the lunchtime. We call Sabores Galapagueños, the Galapagos flavors. And we have a whole research also in techniques using local produce. We are very strong foragers here as well. And we are cataloging and doing the first catalog of edible plants of the island. So it is a farm, forest, and sea to table, and seems so common that in the United States and in America, here you have no idea. We had to pay in advance for some farmers to plant for us because there was no product. So what we do here is in many ways kind of an adventure. As you can see here, during the pandemic, I think I probably made the worst decision in terms of management, the worst decision ever, but the one I'm most proud of in terms of humanity, that we decided that we were not leaving the island when the COVID started. We decided to stay here with our group of 78 employees. We didn't dismiss anyone. We all had different kind of projects, from rebuilding the kitchen. When we start to get bored, we start to build a garden on the rooftop to get some extra food, and do a zero waste project that was already working in our kitchen, but in a very kind of, I would say, a simple way. And then in the pandemic became a reality because we were really fighting against food insecurity. And that you have an idea that a small place can change so many things and so many lives. I mean, we had a reduction from 500 kilos weekly to 100 kilos. I mean, we lower our carbon emission brutally, and we are just a 19 rooms hotel and a restaurant with 40 covers. So I firmly believe in the sentence of Eduardo Galeano from Uruguay, that many small people in small places doing small things can change the world, really. Because if you think about a small project like ours can manage to hit many of the aims of the United Nations for Sustainable Development. I mean, imagine if we all connected globally, what we could do. So the Zero Waste Project from Muyu had some special missions. I mean, the chefs know that if they have to bring some ideas, they have to get very clear the whole circular economy project, and they know that their waste, doesn't matter what it is, cannot be more than 10%. So that made us, during the pandemic, the most sustainable restaurant in Latin America. We were very proud as well, because we work with local farmers to avoid that we have a kind of a high season of some fruit, and then for a long time we have absolute no products in the island. So during this time in the pandemic, we organized the farmers as well to avoid losing any food here, and they were bringing everything to us. We are transforming that in exchanging, giving products to them. And by doing that, we were awarded by the world's 50 best restaurant the title of Spirit of Latin America, which I say to people, I really don't care very much about awards, but this one is one that we are very proud of, because that showed that people were realizing that this movement was a movement of a connection between people to try to get out of a crisis with solidarity. And so we do everything. We have projects like 100% use of every product. This one here is with watermelon, that we use everything from the seeds. We make some special powders that we use in our dishes. Of course, we use the fruit, and the liquids we use for vinegars. The white part we use as a vegetable, and the green part we use as a pickle. And like that one, we have many others. I just present recently at Harvard University a project that we are doing with 100% banana and 100% passion fruit as well. And this is, for example, we have a very tiny tomatoes here that are endemic from the island, and we start to nixtamalize. We are the creators of the tomato raisins. So if anyone starts to commercialize, you remember that we were the first ones. And so the different techniques, of course, we use here, we work quite a lot with science, and we try to make science invisible to the guests, because I'm sorry, but for me, there's nothing more boring than to sit in a restaurant and someone give you a lecture when you have your dish in front of you. So we are masters here to hide and make our cuisine seems to be very innocent, but behind this innocence, there's a lot of work. That you have an idea, we have cassava is a big theme in my career, and I research quite a lot about cassava since many years. It is endemic from Brazil, but it is present in all countries in Latin America, the staple food here. However, in Ecuador, they don't know how to use cassava in the way that Brazilians use, because they just cook and they fry and they use very simple starches. So we start to make a whole project in our farm to separate the different cassavas and to get them the use from each one of them, and to find out which starches are the best ones, which ones we can make flour. And we managed to get isolated like 25 byproducts, products that can be very useful also in time of shortage. So the same thing happened with the green papaya, because papaya was introduced to the island, but the climate here, we are in a subtropical island, is not adequate to papaya. So we opened some case studies. That is my first case study here, that is climate change, 8% harvest lost. And so to be able to use this product, we got everything is there and around the farms, but just 20% of this fruit get ripe and is useful. So it is an immense amount of loss. And then as one of those things I start to remember from my childhood, my grandmother used to have some special compotes that she was doing with the green papaya. And then I start to research again how to do that. It's kind of a bit complex technique, but in the end we managed to crack, and I said, we are in quarantine. We don't know when we are going to have more food entering the island. We need to use this material. It's getting lost all over. So that is one of the projects we are most proud of. And then Adela is going to know exactly what I'm talking about, because she goes to Oxford too. And in Oxford is one of the things that they are more proud of is the marmalade, the dark orange marmalade, you know. And during the quarantine, I was just craving for this marmalade, because I was 14 years living in the UK. And then we decided to do that. We did a lovely recipe, and then we multiplied by 10 the recipe to get, and then something chemical happened and was a disaster. We now, because it is something connected with thermodynamics and with the whole work with the sugar and the caramelization as well. And we don't know what happened, that in a matter of less than an hour, the entire thing was black, but not because it was burned. And so we didn't want to lose like 10 kilos of oranges, and we decided to save that for another occasion. So that came then the project, our green papaya project, that we managed to get this mass, this incredible amount of carbon mass, but without flavor. And we said, what can we do with that? Let's make a test with the burnt marmalade. So we managed to get a magic happen here that I cannot explain to you. So we have a whole collection now of dry fruit, of compotes, of cakes, of all kind of products here that was based in that connection with a waste product that we lost. Now we burn on purpose the marmalade to get the process going on. So we have like fake figs. We don't have figs in the island, but we love figs. So we managed to get a fake fig, but then the seeds were missing. And then we just managed to get some quinoa and amaranth, and then we managed to cook them in a way that we put together with the fruit. When people eat that with a little bit of cheese, you tell them it's figs, they believe it's figs. And there are some of these things that we found by accident, and others became then part of this continuing experiment. No, second citrus fruit case study is the ugly fruit. The fruit look really, really ugly, but we have a lot of this material for a very short time. So we decided to use everything. We extract pectin from the seeds. We managed to use the entire orange and nothing gets lost. So we realized that in some countries, I mean, I'm half Brazilian, half European, and Brazilian especially is a place where we have this kind of situation that some people are starving and others can have the luxury of throw away food every day. In the United States, is the same thing. I think it's still a lot of room for improvement and sense of not throwing away so much product that is good. So we decide here to make our first mission. Our first mission, and it doesn't matter what we do, is to use 100% of everything. You can see these guys here with the cakes. These cakes are made with orange peels. The girls candies with orange peels as well. So Eco Solutions, we have an entire rooftop from a hotel in a place that it is a very hot zone, and we just thought, let's make a farm there. We made urban gardens. Our urban gardens a huge rooftop. Here you can see when we were building, we built pandemic, and we managed to get so much food to feed our people. And now this garden, part of the products that we serve in the restaurant comes from this garden. As a symbol, we decided to carry on giving a basket of veggies from this garden, from the people who were there during the pandemic, so that they never forget that this garden is the result of community work. So young scientists, there are so many scientific minds here, and people who want and are thirsty about science, but they don't have a lab, they don't have anyone giving them proper classes. So we are now working really hard to try to get lab equipments, to try to open that, but we carry on teaching them and what we have and giving them opportunities so that they can develop that mind. My chef is one of them. My chef is someone who never studied science and has a very scientific mind. And we try to make that one of our missions here as well. As you can see here, our young scientists doing our edible plant catalog and the seed bank as well, and then harvesting the result from their own work. And then we have also a program for students who are doing degree, or students who are also doing masters or doctors who wants to develop their thesis here. I open usually between 4 and 6 spaces a year, but I just accept students who manage to bring thesis here that they can contribute to the development of Galapagos, and especially connected to environmental matters. So if any of the MIT students want to be part of that, we're going to be very honored to receive you here and offer our hospitality. So so that you have an idea, one of my students, I'm a teacher at the University of Gastronomic Sciences in Italy, and one of my students did research about sustainable fishing that helped a lot the community here. And Fernanda didn't realize that when she was doing this thesis, she was doing preparing people for the pandemic without realizing. So when the pandemic hit, Fernanda managed to get a lot of families here having urban gardens, having food in their own house. So that became very visible for her impact of a 2 months visit and how much you can change So those are the students from the Basque Culinary Center. They were the first ones to be here. Lady now works at Basque Culinary, and Jordi is a chef of Mugaritz now. And these guys, we are family, because they help us to create this system that we can receive all the students here as well. And they still have our foundation in their hearts. And when they come here, they teach basic skills, from knife skills to ethical skills as well. And we have people coming here to teach them about wine, about other topics related to food and to gastronomy in general, but also about the art of hospitality that is so important. So protection of wildlife is part of every single thing. So our guys here, they go and they clean the beach, they catalog the garbage that they manage to find. We managed to get a beach that is very clean, but of course there are a lot of things coming from the sea. We managed to find sometimes even plastic with Chinese labels, you know, that come from the ocean. So we try to take care and give an example here with this project and show these guys that this is your home. It is part of your home, and you have to take care of it every day. So in the beginning, look at all the kind of stuff we managed to find sometimes coming from the sea. Even though the water is crystalline, is beautiful, but sometimes you have those lots of things coming. And Galapagos is famous for its coffee as well. And as you can see, there are so many practices here that has to be improved. So we try to give classes of food and hygiene, try to get people to know that sometimes there are some wild things growing in their garden and they don't know that they're edible. And we try as well to engage women who cannot work because they have small kids. Now we have a project of artisan mothers, and that they are preparing. We go to their houses and we help them regarding food and hygiene and teach them how to do marmalades. And then we have a small bakery, and we open this bakery as a continuous work of mothers and daughters as well. And then we sell this product in the bakery, and they can help their family with an extra income. So saving species in the verge of extinction. The pink oysters, for example, the Pleurotus jamor, used to be in places here, and they start to disappear because people don't know how to use them. So we are doing a project now. We have an entire area now that we are growing mushrooms, and we are trying to introduce to the diet here to get people more healthier. We have a capsicums here, like the Galapagoensis here, that it is already the red list of species in extinction that we are trying to get back again into the system. So there are so many missions here that one presentation was not going to be enough to show you everything what we do. But I think the most important thing is that there is a small, tiny place here in the middle of nowhere that you can come and visit, and you can see that transformation doesn't depend of a lot of fundings, doesn't depend of much more than humans willing to help humans and support each other. So I'm going to leave you this last reflection here, and then I'm going to put a tiny trailer from the most beautiful documentary made on Galapagos by Sir David Attenborough, so that I will motivate you to come and visit us here.
In the vastness of the Pacific, there's a paradise unlike any other. Enchanted volcanic islands where life has played out in isolation from the rest of the world and produced some extraordinary results. Fauna and flora of these islands are perfect stars. Iguanas that have taken to the ocean and spit salt from their noses. Land tortoises that roam freely in their thousands. And an abundance of extraordinary plants. Bizarre insects and unique animals, some of which have never been filmed before. This is truly a wonderland of magic and discovery.
Thank you for having me here. And I hope to see you here in the island as well.
Thank you so much. I think we all want to visit you. Definitely, yes. I always tell you, I will visit you, but this time is the real one. Thank you very much indeed. I guess we do have some questions. Do we have any questions for Luciana? I think it's been amazing. Luis, what do you think?
Yeah, no, this is mind blowing. I mean, like it's amazing. I have several questions in many directions here because like I think, well, first of all, congratulations for the work, and I really love this idea of zero waste. This is something that humans we have been trying to do all the time. No, like when people talk about paella, and I learned this actually from Marcus. Paella means leftovers, and it was like the way of reusing, like the food from the week. So there is there, but you push that a little bit further, no, because it's like zero, so you reuse almost everything. So I think that's beautiful. It is connected with the idea of preservation, and I think that's super important. But also, I think is how do you connect that with creativity is like amazing. So congratulations for that. So I guess that I have two questions or even more, but my first question is like how do you decide, like how come you say, okay, I'm gonna establish here and I'm gonna decide like this is my place and I'm gonna get these challenges, almost like going to the moon, no, like and how can you decide like with very scarce and why humans decide to live in Galapagos when I mean, I thought all the time that it was like a desert kind of island. So what is the community about? It's about tourism, it's about, I don't know, like, can you explain a little bit that?
Sure. And first, your first question is why I'm here. I think I was living like 10 years of my life traveling around the world, 250 days a year. That was my work. I was basically visiting restaurants and producers, and that was my job. And being lecturer also to several different universities and places. So my life was like of a nomad. And but I had always the feeling that I still have a mission, and I couldn't find my real purpose, because even though I was living a hell of a life, eating the best things in the best restaurants in the world and everything, but was something that I remember to hear from my father, that was when you have opportunities and you have a voice, you have to know how to use your voice. And I was feeling that I was enjoying my time, but I was not using my voice properly. So I came to Galapagos, and that was for me fascinating, because it was the first time I came to a place where nobody knew who I was, what I was doing. Nobody cared about gastronomy. If I was telling the word Michelin or telling 50 best restaurants, they didn't care. They have no idea what it was. So suddenly everything what was the base for my career here was completely useless. And then that was so much that I could do to help people here, but not in a glamorous way. So So I like to say that I bury my Vuittons I bury my all knowledge that impress people to come here to a place where I have to convince people that maybe together we could do something. So it was an organic process, was not from one day to another. I mean, I probably was the only crazy person who became partner from a hotel during a pandemic, because until that moment I had the foundation. I was doing everything almost in a volunteer way. We opened the restaurant and I was putting just my fundings in doing my stuff, but I didn't have the courage to kind of embrace completely and live here. So during the pandemic, I did that. And because I realized that was not a work anymore, it was not an investment, it was basically my life and the life of another 200 families. So it was very organic, you know. You don't get crazy like one day and you stay in Galapagos. It's like Galapagos, what you saw that started to convince me. And one important point as well, I am an environmentalist since I am a teenager. And I was a Greenpeacer as well. And I was one of the ones fighting for the tuna campaign of no dolphins in the can. I was there in front of the supermarkets protesting, So for me, there was something arriving here, this innocence from wildlife that touched my soul really. And I just thought I have to do something to help. And then crossing your second question, this is a place who lives from tourism. Is there any better place to protect the environment and wildlife than having tourism that it is sustainable, and having people who work in tourism becoming self-conscious and wanting to use their jobs to save the environment? So there was a kind of a perfect match. About the why people live in the Galapagos, this was like Australia, was a prison. And when in the mainland, people didn't want to have some people there because they were dangerous, they sent here. So this is a place that was colonized as a prison, like with a one-way ticket. Just imagine how hard it must be. They sent people here, like in the middle of those wild animals, without a house. In most of the islands, there is no water. This is the only island that have a drinkable water. Floriana has a tiny bit, small, but not sufficient for people living there now. But the other islands have no water. So it was a scary place. It was like almost like a perverse way to send someone to their death, So this island is very tough. People here are very tough. It is not like a cute island that you have those Mexicans in the market and try to invite you to come home. No, they are always a bit suspicious of everyone. So you have to stay here longer enough to be able to work with people and to get people trusting you. Otherwise, they are not.
Wow. No, I never realized that the Galapagos, that is like a paradise, it was kind of like a jail.
I think the sentence is my paradise is my hell is my paradise. We have both. In fact, we have that in any place. Some places you don't realize immediately, but I think all places in the world have the capacity to be hell and paradise. I think is the technique of looking at the glass half full, half empty. It is the answer for everything, is how you see things.
Absolutely.
And one question about the products. I mean, like, is everything like local, or are you importing some stuff?
No. I still have to import 100 kilos a week. I mean, We are in between 80 and 100 kilos a week, because things like flour and sugar. I mean, I try as much as I can. Like, for example, sugar, we have a whole project now with carob, that we are now harvesting carob, and we are trying to do many things with sugar. Our desserts are made with wild carob, and but it is not enough, of course, for what the island needs, especially flour, things like let me see what else, eggs. There are several products that the more staple products that you don't manage to get here. And you still depend on fuel, all type of like gas. We still depend from the mainland, and so what we try here is to reduce as much as we can, and we manage almost like a miracle to reduce 400 kilos a week. And we know that is still at the moment like another 30, 40 kilos that we can manage, but we still have to work really, really hard. And now we are entering high season, and high season is the time that we have to focus completely in our guests, and we cannot do any research and anything because we work like in minus half of the year, and getting kind of a heart attacks almost to pay the bills. And then we have this possibility in the high season to get back. So we live very much on the edge financially. And then after that, when the low season starts again, and if we had a very good season, then we managed to get into research again. So we have new projects for next year, and we hope that we have a fabulous season and many tourists are going to come here. And so that we have enough fundings to continue this dream, because from the pandemic here, we almost closed 5 times, and we are always in the border. But I don't know, there's something that the universe kind of conspired with people doing good things, I guess. And we managed to get to here. I don't know how, because during the pandemic, I had the feeling that was like a Titanic going down, and we are bravely trying to get the Titanic up again. And somehow we are here 2 years later. Of course, the banks are killing us, but that's the way to go, with positivity and going ahead, you know.
I don't know if there are any other questions from the City Science group. Happy to say hello to all of them. Do we have any other questions? Yeah, we do. Definitely, yes. I love this, Luis. I just love them. Ready when you are. Just make your questions. Just go ahead.
Marcus.
We can't hear you. The
Yeah,
mic is...
Marcus, the mic.
Yeah.
Mm.
Hi, Marcus. How are you? I'm very happy to see you.
Yeah,
And
but
all...
his mic. Yeah, they don't have mic, so that's
yeah,
the
you just...
problem.
Okay, don't worry. Just write down your question. Do you want to write down the question? Do you have a question? Meanwhile, I will make you a question, and we listen to, or we read whatever Mark and the team wants to say. We usually make a question to all our guests, Luciana, and the question is, what role, I think you did already say, but what role does the cultural heritage of a territory play in shaping its gastronomy identity and your own cooking?
So I think because we are in this mission to develop the first cuisine of a place, I think territory is everything. So trying to get people the sense of terroir is something quite complicated when you have a place that have so bad infrastructure. So we have farmland in the highlands of the island, but because the island is so controlled, we don't have permission. Probably we are the only 5-star hotel in the world that has no permission to have a car. Okay, and so to manage to get a box of tomatoes, I have to go by taxi. So I pay $50 taxi to manage to get vegetables. So now we have a group of people that managed to drop several different things. And after several years, we managed to get that. But to be very honest with you, I managed to get for half price, just taking the phone, calling the mainland, and getting delivered to my door with the, the airplane comes here and drop it with a driver at my door. So resilience here and having a focus in this mission means working truly hard. It is very tempting for a chef, of course, to just call outside. What we think is that it is impossible to create a cuisine, to have a local cuisine, if you don't invest in agriculture, if you don't invest in local farming, fishing, and you don't understand a little bit about foraging as well, especially in a place like that. However, foraging is prohibited here in many areas of the national park. We are very lucky because we have a farm. In our farm, we can manage to get some produce that we don't manage to get in other places. And we manage to get also some wild products. They're so beautiful. So our work is truly an adventure here, but I know that it is not possible to build a cuisine in other way. So we are our own case study. So we managed to develop already several dishes here that I know that in few years are going to be part of the local cuisine. There are some people already copying. And then when my chefs are super furious because someone is copying and just say, that is the process. To become a local cuisine, they have to copy. So they copy one, we do another one. And so we started to be like the island influencers. We have to accept that is the process. There are no other way. And because we have a lot of people coming and working with us for a time, and then they go to work with their families, they start to take that knowledge as well. It is kind of hard because there is no sense of collaboration per se here. I think because of the history of the island, probably people believe sometimes that they just learn and they just steal from you, just take from you, and they go to other places, However, knowing that and remembering my own father that he used to have two daughters very, very different from each other, in which one want to do everything what he said and the other one want to do everything the opposite, which that one was me. I realized that education, the most important thing about education is that you have to find ways to get the message. And you have to be creative. And sometimes the
Are we lost?
community and make here a hub, an incubator of ideas. And then these people I start to distribute around the island. So we are never going to get credit for anything what we do, because then suddenly become the work from many, but we know exactly what we are doing and we know the results already because we are seeing already. So terroir is everything. Territory is the most important thing. There's no way to do gastronomy without having an eye in the work and the terroir.
I love that. Terroir is everything. There was a question from the City Science, and the question is if the menu is vegetarian. Is it all vegetarian?
No. Yeah, that is the funniest thing. This is a place that has most people eat meat. And the cattle was introduced to the island, to the highlands, and unfortunately, for reasons of hygiene and security, I don't use any meat, because for me, the food I serve to my guests has to be the same food I serve for my family. And if it's not good enough for them, unfortunately, it's not possible. So I think that people are used, because most of them came from the Andes, came from the places like Quito, mountain places, and they eat more meat. So it's very unnatural, They don't do a cuisine here that's appropriate for the place. Fishing is something that, of course, our restaurant is a fish restaurant and vegetables, which I started to reduce fish gradually, because my intention is to work more and more with alternative proteins. So what I realize is, yes, we have catch of the day. We have the best octopus and best fish and in the sustainable tuna here. Everything is line caught. However, going under the sea and swimming with these fabulous creatures, I don't want to eat them. And I want to reduce that as much as I can. So that is exactly our mission at the moment. We have, I would say, fairly half or more of our menu is with alternative proteins. People don't complain. Some people don't even realize.
Okay. It's just amazing. I was just checking. You are in so many, we can see so many things about you. So Muyu in the 50 best, as you mentioned. Congratulations, because I think it's just amazing. You are an inspiration, and I think I don't know, Luis, but I am shocked at what she does. Whenever I talk to her, I say, how can you, it's just amazing. But also what you are doing in the territory with people working there. Education is just key. And I think you're so generous. Really, I do think
No,
so.
Adela, one thing that for me is important now that we embrace zero waste as a way of living is what I tell people is just look more carefully and with more love to your garbage. Because we basically we talk very much about supporting our farmers, but we are throwing half of the work in the garbage. We're talking about how sensitive and how good people we are, and that we cry when we see people starving, or we see now people in Palestine, in other places, suffering because of food insecurity. And but we every day we throw away an immense amount of food that is good food, you know. So I think we have to be more coherent with our emotions. Our humanity sometimes is disconnected with our actions, and I trying here in Galapagos is every day to try be more and more coherent with our speech, you know. And a few days ago, I was talking to one of my chefs, and she was saying, "Chef, you have to come here because I think we can do so much better. There are some things that we are not proud of, and we are maybe throwing some things that we can turn into valuable products, but because of sometimes lazy chefs, they are putting in the compost." So putting in the compost for us here is being ashamed. We are ashamed of putting in the compost because that is a result that we are a bit lazy. We are not doing the right work, you know, because in the time during the pandemic that we were really completely zero waste, our gardener was completely worried because he said, "I don't have material for my compost. What can I do?" So that is the way to do things, you know. But I think we have to reflect more upon these feelings that we have and what we are doing with our everyday life. And that's what we are trying here.
Thank you so much. Yes, Luis, I think it's 7 o'clock, well,
Yeah.
more, a little bit more.
We have to wrap up, but something that I want to say before Adela wrap up the presentation is that something that I am learning. I mean, I am not a chef. I am very far from the culinary, let's say, ecosystem. But everybody that has been attending these talks, they're, you know, like chefs or in the world of food, but most of the time is not that. It's like, is the education, is the building the community. It is, I mean, all that ecosystem that you have around you, the mission that you have. And I think people are not aware of that. I mean, the research, so that's why when Adela was talking about making this, you know, like this kind of events, I was like, wow, there is a lot of potential, but I didn't realize how much potential, because this is great. So thank you, Adela, for giving us also the opportunity to have amazing people here, and thank you, Luciana, for sharing this experience. I think like people at MIT at the Media Lab, we are so honored to have great speakers and learning in a new way of, you know, like also doing research and building communities. So thank you for that.
Just one last thing. I think it's important to realize that the only common experience probably that we all share is eating. So doesn't matter if you are involved in gastronomy or not, you organize peace at the table and wars at the table, and you talk about hunger and you talk about sufficient food. But the main thing is that food is nourishment, is pleasure, but it is a language that we all share. And I think that it is wonderful that MIT recognized that, and I congratulate you for that, because you can open so many dialogues related to food, involving politics, technology, and so many things. And I am very grateful to Adela that she's like a missionary, bringing gastronomy to places that people never pay attention to what we are doing. So extremely grateful to all of you, and I hope that I can also visit you in MIT maybe next year, because I just love Cambridge, and that you can come here. You know that here you're going to be very welcome, and you're going to receive our full hospitality. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. It's I love every single sentence. Terroir is everything. Food is education, and we share the same language. Thank you so much, Luciana. I love you. I admire you, and thank you for absolutely everything, Luis. I am just so grateful for trusting me at all times. City Science team, I love you all. Really, thank you so much, because we all share the same language. All my gratitude, Luciana. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you so much. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
You.
Thank you.